The space station floated in the darkness between stars, hidden from all eyes except those who knew where to look. Its name was Kepler-7, and it held the most important secret in the galaxy. Inside its metal walls, alien scientists watched a blue planet spinning slowly in the void. Earth, the home of humans. Dr. Elena Rodriguez pressed her face against the observation window. She had been studying the humans for 2 years now, and they still amazed her. She was human herself, but she had been taken from Earth as a child and raised by the Galactic Council. Now she was their expert on her own species. Still watching them, Elena? Commander Jake Morrison walked up behind her. He was tall and strong, with scars on his arms from old battles. Jake had been a soldier before joining the research team. He did not trust easily, especially when it came to the beings they were studying. "They are building something new," Elena said, pointing at the screen. "Look at those rockets. They want to reach the moon again." Jake looked at the display showing human space programs. "They fight wars and then try to reach the stars, strange creatures. All species are strange when you first meet them," said a soft voice behind them. They turned to see Zara approaching. She was a Zephyrian, and she looked almost like a tall human with pale blue skin and silver hair. Her people were known across the galaxy as the most peaceful beings alive. They never fought wars. They never took sides in conflicts. They simply lived in harmony and helped others find peace. "The humans are different," Jake said. "Look at their history. They have been fighting each other for thousands of years." Zara nodded slowly. "Yes, they fight, but they also forgive. They make mistakes and then try to fix them. This is not common in the galaxy." Elena smiled. Zara was the only one on the station who seemed to understand humans the way she did. Most of the other aliens saw only the violence and war. They missed the art, the music, the stories of love and hope. "The Council is worried," Jake said. "They think humans might be dangerous when they reach space." "All species are dangerous," Zara replied. "But humans are also capable of great beauty. I have watched them save animals from burning forests. I have seen them risk their lives to help strangers. They are not just warriors. They are also healers." Across the station, other aliens worked at their tasks. The Korthak were big and strong, with gray skin and sharp teeth. They respected strength and feared nothing. The Veiltar were small and thin, with large eyes and bigger brains than anyone else. They loved knowledge and spent their time thinking deep thoughts. All of them were here to study humans. The Galactic Council had sent them to decide if humans should be allowed to join the galaxy or if they were too dangerous to live. "Dr. Rodriguez, please come to the bridge," came a voice over the speakers. Elena hurried through the corridors of the station. The bridge was the heart of Kepler-7, filled with screens and computers that watched every move on Earth. Captain Voss, a Veiltar with skin like gray paper, looked worried. "We have a problem," he said in his high, thin voice. "One of our scout ships is in trouble." Elena looked at the main screen. It showed a small ship near Earth's moon. The ship was human-built but secretly controlled by the Council. Lieutenant Ben Carter was inside, taking pictures and recording data about human lunar missions. "What happened?" Elena asked. "Engine failure," Captain Voss said. "The reactor is overheating. If we do not help him soon, he will die." Jake stepped forward. "We cannot help him. The rules are clear. No contact with humans. If we save him, they will know we exist." "So we let him die?" Elena asked, her voice rising. "The rules exist for good reasons," said Overseer Thane, a Korthak warrior who had just entered the bridge. His voice was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. "Humans are unpredictable. If they learn about us before we are ready, they might panic. They might attack. Better to lose one scout than risk a war." Zara had followed Elena to the bridge. She listened to the argument with sad eyes. "This human has done nothing wrong," she said quietly. "He is just doing his job like all of us." "He is a spy," Thane said. "Spies accept the risk of death." "Ben Carter does not know he is a spy," Elena said. "He thinks he is testing new technology for his own people. We lied to him." The room fell silent. Everyone knew this was true. Ben Carter was a test pilot who thought he was helping humanity reach the stars. He did not know his ship was controlled by aliens. He did not know his missions were really about studying his own species. "The law is clear," Captain Voss said sadly. "We cannot interfere." Zara stepped forward. Her silver hair caught the light from the screens. "What if we could save him without revealing ourselves?" "How?" Jake asked. "We could make it look like equipment failure. Send him a signal that seems to come from Earth. Guide him to safety using his own technology." Thane shook his massive head. "Too risky. If something goes wrong, if he sees us, the whole mission is compromised." "If we do nothing, he dies," Zara said. "Is that the kind of beings we want to be? The kind who watch others die when we could help?" Elena felt her heart racing. She looked at the screen showing Ben Carter's ship. She could see him inside, working frantically to fix his engines. He was young, maybe 25 years old. He had bright eyes and a smile that reminded her of her brother back on Earth. "I know him," she said suddenly. "I have been watching his family for months. His mother works at a hospital. His father teaches children. They are good people." "All humans have families," Thane said. "That does not make them less dangerous." "It makes them more human," Zara said softly. The ship on. The screen was getting closer to the moon. If the engines failed completely, Ben Carter would crash into the surface. There would be nothing left of him but a crater and some metal pieces. "I have an idea," Elena said. "What if we save him but make him think it was an accident? A lucky break?" Captain Voss tilted his large head. "Explain." "We send a small repair drone. It looks like space junk, like a piece of an old satellite. It attaches to his ship and fixes the engine. Then it breaks away and burns up. He never sees what helped him." "Could work," Jake said slowly. "But if he suspects anything..." "He will not," Elena said. "Humans are used to technology failing and then working again. They call it luck." Zara smiled. "Sometimes luck needs help." Thane looked angry. "This is foolish. We risk everything to save one human. We risk everything if we..." "Let him die," Zara said. "His people will wonder what happened. They will investigate, they will ask questions. Better to have him alive and grateful than dead and mysterious." Captain Voss made his decision. "Prepare the repair drone. Make it quick and quiet." Elena ran to the technical bay. Her hands shook as she programmed the small robot. It was no bigger than a football, with thin arms that could fix almost anything. She made it look old and damaged, like something that had been floating in space for years. On the bridge, everyone watched the screens. The drone flew through space toward Ben Carter's ship. It moved slowly, like a piece of junk caught in the moon's gravity. "Contact in 30 seconds, Jake reported. Zara closed her eyes and whispered a prayer in her own language. Elena held her breath. The drone touched Ben Carter's ship and began to work. Its tiny arms found the broken parts and fixed them quickly. Within minutes, the engine was running again. "It worked," Captain Voss said with relief. On the screen, they could see Ben Carter celebrating inside his ship. He was laughing and talking to himself, probably thinking he was the luckiest pilot in space. The repair drone finished its work and pushed away from the ship. As planned, it flew into the moon's atmosphere and burned up completely. There was no evidence it had ever existed. "Mission accomplished," Jake said. But Zara was still watching Ben Carter's ship as it flew safely back toward Earth. "Something has changed today," she said quietly. "We crossed a line we never crossed before." Elena knew she was right. For the first time in galactic history, aliens had saved a human life. It seemed like a small thing, but sometimes small things change everything. As Ben Carter's ship disappeared toward Earth, none of them knew that this moment would reshape the galaxy forever. The most peaceful species in the universe had just taken their first step toward an alliance with the most unpredictable one, and in the darkness of space that step would echo across the stars. Ben Carter sat in the White Room and tried to remember everything. The doctors had checked him 3 times. The engineers had taken apart his ship piece by piece. Everyone wanted to know how his engines had fixed themselves in space. "Tell us, again what you saw," said Linda Hayes, the head of NASA. She was a woman with gray hair and sharp eyes who had spent her life reaching for the stars. Behind her stood General Chris Thompson, a big man with thick arms who did not trust things. He could not explain. "I told you already," Ben said. "The engines died. I thought I was going to crash into the moon. Then they started working again. Maybe some loose wire connected itself." "Wires do not connect themselves," General Thompson said. "Something helped you out there." Ben shrugged. "Maybe I got lucky." Linda Hayes looked at the reports on her desk. "Your ship was scanned by 17 different instruments. Nothing should have been able to fix that engine failure, but something did." Far above Earth on the hidden station, Elena watched the meeting through secret cameras. She felt sick to her stomach. Ben Carter was being questioned like a criminal, and it was all because they had saved his life. "We should have let him die," Overseer Thane said. The big Korthak warrior stood behind her, his gray skin looking like stone in the dim light. "Now they suspect something." "They suspect their own technology failed," Elena said. "That happens all the time." "Not like this," Captain Voss said. His thin Veiltar voice sounded worried. "They are smart creatures. They will keep looking for answers." Zara sat quietly in the corner watching the screens. She had not spoken much since the rescue. Elena could see something was bothering her. "What are you thinking, Zara?" Elena asked. The blue-skinned Zephyrian looked up with her silver eyes. "I am thinking about what comes next." "Nothing comes next," Thane said firmly. "We observe. We report to the Council. We do not interfere again." "But we already interfered," Zara said softly. "We saved a life. That changes things." Jake Morrison walked into the room carrying a message pad. His face looked grim. "We have a problem, a big one." "What now?" Elena asked. "The Galactic Council knows what we did. Someone reported the rescue mission. They are sending an investigator." Everyone went quiet. Captain Voss made a small noise like air leaking from a balloon. "Who is coming?" "Overseer Thane's superior," Jake said. "War Commander Vex himself." Thane's gray face went pale. "Vex? Here? We are in serious trouble." Elena had heard of War Commander Vex. He was the most feared Korthak in the galaxy. He believed that weak species should be destroyed before they became dangerous. If he came to Kepler-7, it meant the Council was thinking about ending the Human Observation Project permanently. "When does he arrive?" Captain Voss asked. 3 days, Jake said. Zara stood up suddenly. "I need to send a message to my homeworld." "Why?" Thane asked. "Because I am going to do something that has never been done before." Everyone stared at her. Zephyrians were known for being peaceful and quiet. They never did surprising things. "What are you planning?" Elena asked. Zara looked at each of them. "I am going to request permission to serve as humanity's cultural liaison." The room exploded, with voices. Thane roared that she was insane. Captain Voss said it was impossible. Jake demanded to know what she was thinking. "Zephyrians do not take sides," Thane said. "Your people have been neutral for 10,000 years. That is exactly why this will work," Zara said calmly. "If my people support humanity, other species will listen. We have never been wrong about who deserves a chance at peace." Elena felt her heart racing. "The Council will never approve it." "The Council might," Zara said. "If they think a Zephyrian can control humanity, keep them peaceful, they might allow it." "And if your own people say no?" Jake asked. Zara was quiet for a long moment. "Then I will be cast out, exiled. I will have no home and no family." "Why? Would you risk that?" Captain Voss asked. Zara looked at the screen showing Earth. "Because I have been watching humans for 2 years. I have seen them at their worst and their best. They are not perfect, but they try to be better. That is rare in the galaxy." Over the next 3 days, the station buzzed with activity. Zara spent hours writing her request to the Zephyrian High Council. Elena helped her understand human culture better. Jake prepared reports for War Commander Vex. When Vex arrived, the whole station felt different. He was even bigger than Thane, with scars covering his gray skin and teeth like knives. His ship was black as space and bristled with weapons. "Where is the crew responsible for the interference?" he demanded as soon as he stepped onto the bridge. Everyone lined up in front of him. Elena had never been so scared in her life. War Commander Vex looked at each of them like he was deciding which one to eat first. "Explain yourselves," he growled. Captain Voss spoke first. "Sir, we had a choice. Let the human die or save him quietly. We chose to preserve the mission. By breaking the most important rule we have?" Vex stepped closer. "No contact with primitive species. Ever." "The human never knew we helped him," Jake said. "The mission is still secure." Vex turned to Elena. "You are human yourself. Did you influence this decision?" Elena's mouth felt dry. "I provided cultural advice, sir. I said humans would not suspect alien interference." "And you?" Vex stared at Zara. "A Zephyrian who breaks neutrality. Your people will be ashamed." "My people will understand," Zara said quietly. "I sent them a full report." Vex laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "You think they will support you? Zephyrians care only about peace. Humans are warriors." "Humans are many things," Zara said. "Yes, they fight, but they also create beautiful art. They write stories about love and hope. They risk their lives to save strangers. They are not just warriors." "Pretty words," Vex said. "But humans have been fighting wars for their entire history." "So have Korthak," Zara replied. "But you were allowed to join the galaxy." The bridge went dead silent. No one spoke to War Commander Vex that way. Elena expected him to attack Zara right there. Instead, Vex smiled with his sharp teeth. "Interesting. The peaceful one has claws." Then Captain Voss received a message. His large eyes went wide as he read it. "What is it?" Vex demanded. "A response from the Zephyrian High Council," Captain Voss said. "About Zara's request." Everyone looked at Zara. Her silver hair seemed to glow in the bridge lights. "Well," Vex said. "What do your people say about their daughter's madness, Captain?" Voss read the message slowly. "The High Council is divided. Half support the request, half oppose it. They have never faced such a decision before." "So they said no," Vex said. "They said they need time to decide. They want to send observers to study humanity themselves." Vex looked surprised. This was not what he expected. Zephyrians sending observers? They never get involved in galactic politics. "Humanity is different," Zara said. "My people sense it, too." Elena felt a spark of hope. If the Zephyrians were willing to study humans, maybe there was a chance for peace. But Vex was not finished. "Even if your people approve, the Council will not. Humans are too dangerous, too unpredictable." "Give them a chance," Zara said. "One meeting, let them speak for themselves." "Impossible. First contact protocols forbid it." Elena stepped forward. She knew she was risking everything, but she had to try. "What if we arranged an accident, like with Ben Carter?" "What do you mean?" Vex asked. "Ben Carter already knows something strange happened to his ship. What if we told him the truth, just him? Then he could speak for humanity." Jake looked shocked. "That would be direct contact. The Council would execute all of us." "Not if it worked," Elena said. "Not if Ben Carter proved that humans can be trusted." Vex studied Elena for a long moment. "You would risk your life for your species?" "Yes," Elena said without hesitation. "And you?" he asked Zara. "You would risk exile from your people?" "I already have," Zara said, "the moment I sent my request." War Commander Vex walked to the observation window and stared at Earth. For several minutes, no one spoke. Finally, he turned back to them. "One meeting," he said. "Bring this Ben Carter to the station." Let him see what waits for humanity among the stars. If he can convince me that humans deserve a chance, I will recommend limited contact to the Council. And if he cannot? Captain Voss asked. Vex's smile was cold. Then humanity will remain isolated until they destroy themselves or prove they are ready. Either way, the galaxy will be safe. Elena felt her hands shaking. Everything now depended on one human pilot who had no idea his entire species was being judged. Ben Carter would have to convince the most warlike alien in the galaxy that humanity deserved to join the stars. As Vex left the bridge, Zara came to stand beside Elena at the window. "Do you think he will understand?" Zara asked, looking down at Earth. "Ben is a good man," Elena said. "If anyone can show them what humanity truly is, it will be him." But deep in her heart, Elena wondered if any one person could carry the weight of their entire species. The fate of humanity now rested on the shoulders of a pilot who still believed his engine had fixed itself by luck. The real test was about to begin. News traveled fast through the galaxy. Within days, every alien species knew about the Zephyrian who wanted to ally with humans. On 100 different worlds, leaders held emergency meetings. The peaceful ones who had never taken sides were about to break 10,000 years of neutrality. On the war world of Korthak Prime, the ruling council gathered in their black stone fortress. War Commander Vex's report had reached them, and they were not happy. "This is madness," growled Supreme. War Chief Gran, the biggest and strongest of all Korthak, his voice shook the walls. "Zephyrians allying with primitive humans? It changes everything." General Korvax, Vex's brother, slammed his fist on the metal table. "The Zephyrians keep peace in the galaxy. If they side with humans, other species will follow. We cannot allow this." "What do you suggest?" asked War Chief Nakta, the only female on the council. "Simple," Korvax said. "Destroy the humans before they become a problem." The council went quiet. Destroying an entire species was a serious decision even for the Korthak. "The Galactic Council would never approve genocide," War Chief Nakta said. "The Galactic Council does not need to know," Korvax replied. "Make it look like an accident, a solar flare, an asteroid impact. Humans are gone. Problem solved. Supreme." War Chief Gran considered this. The Korthak had ruled through strength for centuries. They feared nothing except change, and the humans represented the biggest change the galaxy had seen in 1,000 years. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Maria Santos sat in the White House trying to understand reports that seemed impossible. Her science advisor, Dr. Kevin Liu, had been studying the data from Ben Carter's mission for weeks. "You are telling me that aliens are real?" President Santos asked. "The evidence suggests it," Dr. Liu said carefully. He was a small man with thick glasses who chose his words like a surgeon choosing tools. "Ben Carter's ship was repaired by technology we do not have. Someone out there helped him." General Chris Thompson paced back and forth in the Oval Office. "If aliens are real, why have they not contacted us? Are they planning to attack?" "Maybe they are waiting," said Dr. Amy Foster, the government's top language expert. She was young, but brilliant, with red hair and green eyes that missed nothing. "Maybe they want to see if we are ready." President Santos looked tired. She had been dealing with wars and disasters for 4 years. Now she had to worry about aliens too. "What do you recommend?" she asked. "We prepare," General Thompson said. "Build weapons, train soldiers, be ready for anything." "We study," Dr. Liu said. "Learn everything we can. Try to understand what they want." "We wait," Dr. Foster said. "If they wanted to hurt us, they would have done it already." President Santos made her decision. "We do all three, quietly. No one outside this room knows about aliens until we have more information. But keeping secrets was hard when the whole world was watching. Ben Carter had become famous as the pilot who survived impossible engine failure. Reporters asked him questions every day. Scientists wanted to study his ship. Everyone had theories about what had really happened. On the space station Kepler 7, Elena watched the chaos on Earth with growing worry. Bringing Ben Carter to the station was getting more difficult every day. "He is being watched constantly," Jake Morrison reported. "NASA has guards around him. The media follows him everywhere. How do we get him alone?" "We create an emergency," Elena said. "Something that requires his specific skills." Captain Voss tilted his large head. "What kind of emergency?" "A rescue mission," Elena said. "We put another pilot in danger. Ben Carter volunteers to help. During the rescue, we bring him to the station." "That means risking 2 human lives instead of 1, Zara said quietly. "No," Elena said. "We control the emergency. We make sure both pilots are safe." War Commander Vex listened to their planning with growing impatience. "You complicate everything. Just take the human. Bring him here. Tell him the truth." "If we kidnap him, he will never trust us," Elena explained. "Humans hate being forced to do things. He has to come willingly." "Then he is weak," Vex said. "He is free," Zara corrected. "There is a difference." While they planned, the galaxy continued to react to the news. On the crystal world of Veiltar Prime, the Council of Minds met in their Tower of Thought. The Veiltar were the smartest species in the galaxy, and they saw patterns others missed. "The humans are dangerous," said First Mind Zelen, the leader of their people. "Not because they are strong, but because they adapt. They learn from mistakes. This makes them unpredictable." "Unpredictable can be good," said Second Mind Kira. "It brings new ideas, new solutions to old problems." "It also brings chaos," First Mind Zelen replied. "The galaxy has been stable for centuries. Humans could destroy that stability. Or improve it," Second Mind Kira said. "Perhaps stability has made us weak." The debate continued for hours. The Veiltar loved to argue about ideas, but they rarely agreed on anything. Far from the political meetings and secret plans, Zara received the message she had been dreading. It came from her homeworld, from the family that had raised her. "Daughter of our hearts," the message began. "The High Council has made its decision. Your request to ally with humans has been denied. You are ordered to return home immediately. If you refuse, you will be cast out from our people forever. Choose wisely." Zara read the message 3 times. She had expected this, but it still hurt like a knife in her chest. Her people were everything to her. Her culture, her history, her identity. Without them, she would be alone in the galaxy. Elena found her sitting in the observation room staring at Earth through the window. "Bad news?" Elena asked. "My people have said no," Zara said softly. "I can go home and forget about humans, or I can stay and lose everything I have ever known." Elena sat beside her. "What will you do?" Zara was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "I will stay. Humans deserve a chance, even if it costs me my family." "Why?" Elena asked. "Why risk so much for people you barely know?" Zara smiled sadly. "Because I have watched humans for 2 years. I have seen them make terrible mistakes and then spend generations trying to fix them. I have seen them save animals from extinction. I have seen them risk their lives for strangers. They are not perfect, but they try to be better every day. That is more than most species can say." The next day brought more bad news. Jake Morrison burst into the bridge with a communication pad in his hands. "We have a problem," he said. "A big one." "What now?" Captain Voss asked. "Korthak ships," Jake said. 3 of them. They just entered this system." War Commander Vex looked surprised. "My people? Here? I did not call for backup." Elena felt ice in her stomach. "What are they doing?" Jake checked his instruments. "They are heading for Earth." "No," Vex said, understanding what was happening. "My brother, he would not dare." "What is your brother planning?" Zara asked. Vex's gray face went pale. "To solve the human problem permanently." The bridge erupted in chaos. Captain Voss started tracking the Korthak ships. Elena tried to contact Earth to warn them. Jake prepared the station's weak weapons. "We have to stop them," Elena said. "How?" Vex asked. 3 Korthak battleships against 1 research station. We would last 30 seconds in a fight. Then we do not fight, Zara said. We warn the humans. That would mean full contact, Captain Voss said. The Council would destroy us all. The Council might destroy us anyway, Elena said. At least this way we save human lives. Vex watched the screens showing his brother's ships getting closer to Earth. His people were about to commit genocide, and there was nothing he could do to stop them with force. Send the message, he said finally. Warn the humans. Elena's hands shook as she activated the communication system. She had dreamed of this moment for years, but not like this. First contact with humanity was supposed to be peaceful and careful. Instead, it was happening because aliens were coming to kill them. This is Dr. Elena Rodriguez calling Earth, she said into the microphone. Please respond. Your planet is in danger. On Earth, radio telescopes around the world picked up the signal. Within minutes, every government knew that someone was trying to contact them from space. The message was broadcast in perfect English with an American accent. In the White House, President Santos listened to the recording with shock. This is real? She asked. The signal came from empty space, Dr. Liu said. But there is definitely someone out there. What kind of danger? General Thompson demanded. As if to answer his question, Earth's satellites detected 3 large objects approaching, fast. They were bigger than anything humans had ever built, and they were armed with weapons that could destroy cities. Alien warships, Dr. Foster whispered. They are coming to attack us. President Santos felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. How long do we have? 6 hours until they reach Earth, Dr. Liu said. Can we fight them? General Thompson shook his head. Our weapons are like throwing rocks at tanks. We need help. President Santos made the hardest decision of her life. Send a message back to this Dr. Rodriguez. Tell her we accept any help she can offer. On Kepler 7, Elena received Earth's reply and felt tears in her eyes. After years of watching from shadows, she was finally talking to her own people. They said yes, she told the others. They want our help. Zara stood up, her silver hair catching the light. Then we give it to them. All of us. This means war with my own people, Vex said. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had never seen anything like this. Representatives from 50 different species filled the Great Hall on the neutral world of Nexus Prime. The air buzzed with angry voices speaking in dozens of languages, Adii. The center of it all sat High Counselor Thyma, an ancient being whose species was so old that no one remembered their real name. Her skin looked like tree bark, and her eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 years. Order, she said, and her voice carried across the hall like thunder. We will have order. The hall fell silent. Even the most powerful war chiefs respected High Counselor Thyma. War Commander Vex, she said, explain why your brother attacked a primitive world without council permission. Vex stood before the council, still in his battle armor. His ship had barely escaped the fight at Earth. High Counselor, my brother acted alone. The Korthak leadership did not authorize this attack. Yet 3 Korthak battleships tried to destroy an entire species, said Ambassador Dren, a tall being with blue scales who spoke for the water worlds. This cannot be ignored. The humans were defended, said Counselor Yeath of the Veiltar. By whom? All eyes turned to Elena Rodriguez, who stood next to Zara in the witness section. Elena had never imagined she would address the Galactic Council. Her human clothes looked strange among all the alien robes and armor. By people who believed in doing what was right, Elena said. Her voice shook, but she kept talking. Zara of the Zephyrians, War Commander Vex, Captain Voss, all of us who could not watch genocide happen. A human speaks in our hall, muttered General Corvex, who had been brought in chains after his failed attack. This is how far we have fallen. This human saved your life, Zara said loudly. When your ships were damaged and drifting, she convinced Earth's leaders to rescue your crews instead of letting them die. The hall erupted in surprised voices. No one had heard this part of the story. Silence, High Counselor Thyma commanded. Explain. Elena took a deep breath. After the battle, General Korvex's ships were crippled. His crews were dying. I asked President Santos to send rescue ships. She said yes, even though these same aliens had just tried to kill her people. Impossible, General Korvex snarled. Humans are savages, they would never help enemies. Yet here you sit, alive, Zara pointed out, because humans chose mercy over revenge. War Commander Vex stepped forward. High Counselor, I have fought humans in battle. They are fierce warriors, but they are also honorable. When we surrendered, they treated our wounded. They shared their food with our prisoners. This is not the behavior of savages. The council chamber buzzed with whispered conversations. Many species had never heard anything good about humans before. Tell us about this battle, High Counselor Thyma said. Vex activated a holographic display that showed the space around Earth. My brother brought 3 heavy battleships. Each one carried enough firepower to crack a planet. The humans had nothing that could hurt us. The hologram showed Earth's tiny space station and handful of shuttles facing the massive Korthak warships. But they did not fight alone, Vex continued. The research station Kepler-7 provided intelligence. Dr. Rodriguez coordinated the defense. Zara used her knowledge of our technology to find weaknesses. And humans? Asked Ambassador Dren. Humans surprised us, Vex admitted. They used tactics we never expected. Small ships attacking from multiple directions. Sacrifice missions to save others. They turned their weakness into strength. Elena remembered that terrible day. She had watched from the bridge of Kepler-7 as Ben Carter led a group of civilian pilots against the Korthak ships. They were farmers and teachers and shopkeepers who had volunteered to defend their world. Most of them died, but they bought time for Earth's real defenders to get into position. The humans could have surrendered, Vex continued. My brother offered to spare some cities if they gave up. They refused. Every last one of them chose to fight rather than live as slaves. This proves they are dangerous, said Counselor Nex of the Machine Worlds. His voice sounded like grinding gears. A species that prefers death to defeat cannot be trusted. It proves they have courage, Zara said, and principles. They value freedom more than safety. High Counselor Thyma studied the data on her screen. What happened to your brother's ships? Destroyed or captured, Vex said. The humans have 3 Korthak battleships now. They are studying our technology. This caused another wave of worried voices. Primitive species learning advanced technology was always dangerous. We should have finished them then, General Korvex said from his chains. Now they will become a threat to everyone. They are already a threat, said Counselor Fex of the Crystal Beings. Not to our bodies, but to our ideas. Word of this battle is spreading. Other primitive worlds are asking why humans get to join the galaxy when they do not. Elena felt a chill. She had not thought about this problem. Earth was not the only world with intelligent life. If other species demanded the same treatment as humans, it could tear the galaxy apart. Perhaps, said a new voice, that is exactly what we need. Everyone turned to see who had spoken. In the back of the hall stood a figure in a white robe. When she pulled back her hood, Elena gasped. It was Elder Senna, the oldest and wisest of all Zephyrians. Elder Senna, High Counselor Thyma said with respect. We did not expect you here. The ancient Zephyrian walked slowly to the center of the hall. Her hair was silver like Zara's, but her eyes held the weight of centuries. I came because my people have made a decision, Elder Senna said. About our daughter Zara and her alliance with humans. Zara went pale. Elena could see her hands shaking. The High Council of Zephyr has voted, Elder Senna continued, by the smallest margin in our history. Zara's exile is hereby revoked. Her alliance with humanity is officially recognized. The hall exploded. Zephyrians had never backed down from a decision before. They had never changed their minds about exile. They had never supported any alliance with any species. This is unprecedented, High Counselor Thyma said. These are unprecedented times, Elder Senna replied. For 10,000 years, we have remained neutral while others made the hard choices. We have kept peace while others fought wars. But sometimes neutrality is just another word for cowardice. She looked directly at Zara. My daughter chose to stand for what she believed in, even when it cost her everything. That is not cowardice, that is courage. But why support humans? Asked Ambassador Dren. They are violent and unpredictable. Because they change, Elder Senna said simply. Every other species in this hall is the same today as they were 1,000 years ago. The same governments, the same laws, the same ideas. But humans, they grow, they learn, they become better than they were. Elena thought about human history, wars and slavery and terrible mistakes, but also art and music and stories about hope, the long, slow journey from cave dwellers to star travelers. Growth is dangerous, Counselor Nex said. It brings instability. Stagnation is more dangerous, Elder Senna replied. It brings death. Look around this hall. How many of our species are dying out? How many have stopped having children because they see no future worth living for? The hall grew quiet. Everyone knew she was right. Many of the oldest species in the galaxy were slowly fading away, tired of endless centuries without change. Humans bring chaos, Elder Senna continued, but they also bring possibility. The possibility that tomorrow might be different from today. Better than today. She turned to address the entire council. The Zephyrians formally request that humanity be granted provisional membership in the Galactic Council. We volunteer to serve as their cultural guides and sponsors. Impossible, General Korvac shouted. They are too primitive. We were all primitive once, Elder Senna said. Someone gave us a chance to grow. Now we must give that same chance to others. High Counselor. Thyma looked around the hall. She could see the council was divided. Some species supported humanity, inspired by their courage in battle. Others feared change and wanted things to stay the same. This decision is too important for hasty judgment, she said finally. We will recess for 3 standard days. Each species will consult with their homeworlds. When we reconvene, we will vote on humanity's future. As the council dispersed, Elena found herself walking beside Zara through the corridors of the Great Hall. Thank you, Elena said. For everything you risked? Thank you, Zara replied, for showing me what humanity really is. What happens now? Now we wait, Zara said, and hope that courage is more contagious than fear. Behind them, Elder Senna caught up with her younger kinsman. You chose well, daughter, she said to Zara, but the hardest part is still ahead. What do you mean? Convincing the galaxy to change is difficult, Elder Senna said, but keeping that change alive, that will require strength none of us have ever had to show before. As they walked toward their quarters, Elena thought about Ben Carter and all the other humans back on Earth. They were probably looking up at the stars right now, wondering if their new alien friends would succeed in gaining them acceptance. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, decided by beings from across the galaxy in a hall built among the stars. But for the first time since this all began, Elena felt hope. Change was coming to the galaxy, whether it wanted it or not. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so full. Representatives from every known species packed the chamber, while billions more watched from their homeworlds. Today, they would decide if humans deserved a place among the stars, or if they would remain alone on their small blue planet. Elena Rodriguez sat in the witness section wearing her best clothes. Beside her, Zara looked calm, but Elena could see the tension in her silver eyes. War Commander Vex stood with the Korthak delegation, still wearing bandages from the battle at Earth. President Maria Santos had arrived that morning with a small group of human diplomats. She looked tired but determined as she took her place at the speaker's podium. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for without knowing it for thousands of years. High Counselor Thyma called the session to order. We gathered today to vote on humanity's application for provisional membership in the Galactic Council. Before we vote, the applicant species will address us. President Santos stepped forward. Elena felt proud watching her own species leader stand before beings from across the galaxy. Honored Council, President Santos began, her voice carrying clearly through the vast hall. I stand before you not as a conqueror or a supplicant, but as a representative of a species that has learned the hard way that peace is better than war, cooperation better than conflict. She paused, looking around the chamber. We know our history is violent. We know we have made terrible mistakes. We do not ask you to forget these things. We ask you to judge us not only by our past but by our capacity to grow beyond it. Pretty words, interrupted Counselor Nex of the Machine Worlds. But words are easy. Actions matter more. Then judge us by our actions. President Santos replied, when your warriors attacked our world, we could have executed the survivors. Instead, we healed them. We could have tortured them for information. Instead, we treated them with dignity. We could have used their technology to build weapons of revenge. Instead, we studied it to better understand the galaxy we hope to join. General Korvek, still in chains but allowed to speak, stood up. You speak of mercy, but you destroyed my ships. You killed my soldiers. We defended ourselves, President, Santos said calmly. But even in battle, we followed rules. We targeted weapons, not life support. We rescued crews from disabled ships. We offered surrender before each attack. This is how humans wage war when we must, with honor even toward enemies. Elder Senna of the Zephyrians rose from her seat. May I speak, High Counselor? Of course, Elder Senna. The ancient being walked slowly to the center of the chamber. 3 days ago, I received a message from Earth. It was not addressed to me or to any government. It was sent to the families of the Korthak soldiers who died in the battle. The hall grew very quiet. Elena had not heard about this. The message was from human families who had lost their own sons and daughters in the fight. Elder Senna continued. They wrote to express sympathy for the alien mothers and fathers who would never see their children again. They offered to tend the graves of enemy soldiers with the same care they give their own heroes. Even General Korvex looked surprised by this news. In 10,000 years, Elder Senna said, I have never seen anything like this. Species mourn their own dead. They celebrate victories over enemies. But humans? They grieve for the families of those who tried to kill them. This is not weakness, this is wisdom. Ambassador Dren of the Waterworld stood up. But what about their impact on galactic stability? Other primitive worlds are already demanding the same treatment. We could face requests from hundreds of species. And perhaps we should grant them, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Counselor Yith of the Veiltar walking to the speaker's platform. The smartest species in the galaxy rarely spoke in council sessions, preferring to observe and analyze. We have maintained stability in this galaxy for 2,000 years, Counselor Yith said. But stability built on exclusion is not strength. It is stagnation. We have become a closed society, admitting new members only when they perfectly match our expectations. His large eyes scanned the chamber. Humans do not match our expectations. They are chaotic, emotional, unpredictable. This terrifies us because it reminds us of what we have lost. The ability to change, the willingness to take risks, the courage to be something new. Change brings war, said Counselor Fex of the Crystal. Beings. Stagnation brings death, Counselor Yith replied. Look at our birth rates. Look at our innovation. Look at our art. When did any of us last create something truly new? When did any of us last feel hope for the future instead of fear? Of change? Elena felt tears in her eyes. The Veiltar were supporting humanity, and their words carried enormous weight in the council. The humans offer us a gift, Counselor Yith continued. Not their technology, which is primitive, not their military power, which is limited. They offer us the gift of possibility, the reminder that tomorrow can be different from today if we have the courage to make it so. High Counselor Thyma raised her hand for silence. The debate period is over. We will now vote. Each species may cast one vote. A simple majority will decide. The voting began with the oldest species first. The results appeared on a massive display, visible throughout the hall. Ancient species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia voted no. They feared change, preferred the familiar patterns of power they had known for centuries. Younger species, those still growing and exploring, voted yes. They saw in humanity a reflection of their own hopes and dreams. Military species like the Korthak split their votes. Some feared human unpredictability. Others respected human courage in battle. The Veiltar voted yes, as expected after Counselor Yeath's speech. The machine worlds voted no, fearing chaos in their ordered systems. As the votes accumulated, the count remained close. Elena watched the numbers with growing anxiety. Humanity needed 26 votes to win. They had 24 with only 3 species left to vote. The water worlds voted yes. 25 votes for humanity. The crystal beings voted no. As expected. Everything came down to the final vote. The Zephyrians. Elder Senna stood slowly, her ancient bones creaking with age. The entire galaxy held its breath. The Zephyrian Collective, she said in a voice that carried across the stars. Votes yes. The hall erupted in chaos. Cheers from some species, angry shouts from others. President Santos covered her face with her hands, overwhelmed with relief. Zara smiled with tears streaming down her blue cheeks. But the celebration was cut short by alarms. Red lights flashed throughout the chamber as security forces rushed in. Bomb threat, announced the chief of security. Everyone evacuate immediately. The hall descended into panic as thousands of beings tried to reach the exits at once. Elena found herself separated from Zara in the crush of bodies. Then she saw them. A group of aliens in dark clothing moving against the crowd, heading toward the human delegation. They carried weapons that glowed with deadly energy. "President Santos!" Elena shouted over the noise. "Behind you!" The attackers opened fire. Energy bolts burned through the air where President Santos had been standing a second before. War Commander Vex tackled the human president, his armored body shielding her from the blast. Elena watched in horror as Zara threw herself between the attackers and Dr. Kevin Liu. The energy beam meant for the human scientist struck the Zephyrian instead. Zara collapsed, her silver hair stained with blue blood. "Zara!" Elena screamed. The battle that followed lasted only minutes but felt like hours. Security forces engaged the attackers while delegates fled in terror. Ben Carter, who had come as part of the human delegation, used his pilot training to coordinate the defense. When the shooting stopped, 6 aliens lay dead. They belonged to different species but shared the same goal: preventing human integration into galactic society. Elena knelt beside Zara, pressing her hands against the wound in her friend's chest. "Stay with me," she whispered. Zara smiled weakly. "Did we win?" "Yes," Elena said, tears falling on Zara's face. "Humanity is in. You did it." "We did it," Zara corrected. "Together." Medical teams rushed in to treat the wounded. Zara was taken to the best hospital on Nexus Prime, where doctors from a dozen species worked to save her life. President Santos, unharmed thanks to Vex's protection, addressed the galaxy from her hospital room. Today, extremists tried to stop the future with violence, she said. They failed, not because their weapons were weak, but because their cause was wrong. The galaxy chose hope over fear, growth over stagnation, unity over division. She paused, looking directly into the camera. A Zephyrian named Zara nearly died protecting a human she barely knew. A Korthak warrior named Vex risked his life to save someone from a species his people consider enemies. This is what the galaxy can become when we choose to see each other as partners instead of threats. 3 weeks later, Elena stood in the observation deck of the new Earth Embassy on Nexus Prime. Zara had recovered from her injuries and was now serving as the first interspecies cultural ambassador in galactic history. "Do you think it will work?" Elena asked, watching ships from dozens of worlds dock at the station. "The Alliance?" Zara considered the question. "It will not be easy. There will be more extremists, more fear, more resistance to change. But," Zara smiled, her silver hair catching the light from distant stars. But humans have something the galaxy has forgotten.